Started. Hello everybody, welcome to Build or Buy. Thanks for joining us today. My name is Gil Boyd, and we meet most Wednesdays from 1 to 3. We have a guest speaker today, Ralph Gonzales, who's been here in the past, and Ralph is going to talk to us about how to keep your house from being burglarized. The other stuff that we normally do, we'll do at the end. If you've got any questions or whatever, comments, please let's let Ralph do his presentation first, and then we'll continue on with the other stuff. I want to thank everybody for being here. So without further ado, let's switch over to Ralph. Ralph, it's all yours. Ralph Gonzales, and he's retired law enforcement, so thank you for what you do for us.
Thank you very much. Welcome, guest. I'm glad to be here today. It's been a couple of, I think it's about a month since and we talked about the keeping ourselves safe and emergency preventions and stuff that we talked about before. Today I kind of wanted to touch base with you about burglary and keeping our homes and our properties safe. As you know, summer's coming up, so now we're going to have a lot of kids that are out of school. We're going to have a lot of kids walking through the streets, and some of them are going to be up to no good. Others are going to be involved. Adults are going to kind of commingle with these kids and start to try to get them to do things that they shouldn't be doing. There's a lot of things that you can do in order to kind of help your home maintain a safe appearance, and we're kind of going to go over a few of those today. One of the alarming stats that we've run across is that according to the FBI, that one property crime happens every 4 seconds. That means somebody goes onto the property and steals a lawnmower, or takes a yard blower, or takes a bicycle out of the garage. A burglary occurs every 20 seconds, meaning someone's getting into the house and taking your property. One of the things that really is going to kind of glaring right now is the violent crimes occurring every 25 seconds. And over the past 2015 to 2016, that's seen an increase of violent crimes. Aggravated assaults occurring every 45 seconds, a robbery occurring every 90 seconds, and a rape or an attempted rape is every 5 minutes. So these are some of the things that we want to be cognizant of when we're doing our planning, when we're doing looking at our house and how are we maintaining the outside visual. And again, like I was saying earlier, I want to provide you with a few tips, and maybe it will help you keep your home a little safer. Again, violent crimes in 2016, as you can see the chart there, it's showing that there are 64.3% aggravated assaults compared to 19% of burglaries, and that's through the FBI's stats that they've provided. One of the things that we sure like to show off our homes and how pretty they are, and how sometimes we have our windows wide open. You need to be cognizant of the fact that there are burglars that drive around the neighborhood. They're looking for easy marks, easy targets. Walking through the neighborhood, I have an interview here with a burglary suspect that actually talks about kind of blending in with the neighborhood and how he manages to do that so that he doesn't look suspicious. I know my wife kind of yells at me sometimes because I'll be at the breakfast table and we have a big picture window and I'm sitting at the computer working and working and working. Now while I'm there, that's fine, but I always happen to leave the computer sitting on the table, and she's always yells at me, or gripes at me, doesn't yell at me, but tells me to take it off because people can see that laptop or that computer sitting on top of the table. So, those are things that she, has made me aware of also. And the window doesn't have drapes on it, so again, it's wide open. So anyone walking by, or even the yard crew that is out there cleaning, can see, oh, there's a computer in that house, and maybe we can get in there and take that property. You definitely don't want to leave your jewelry sitting in open boxes I know there's like dressing areas that the ladies use, and sometimes their jewelry boxes are sitting wide open, and if a subject was able to get into the backyard, then they're able to look into that window and they can see, oh, look at all that jewelry sitting on that table, on that dressing table, and that's an easy mark for you. So you don't want to do that. You want to put your property up, take your jewelry boxes and put them in a drawer, and if you do have curtains, secure those curtains. During the day, yeah, open, you're there. At night, you may want to close it, because at night is when the burglars sometimes walk around in order to target your home, to try to locate the house for the next day or the day after to go into. Garage, again, we spoke a little bit earlier about the garages and how lawnmower equipment, bicycles, how yard blowers, tools, a lot of that stuff, it doesn't take very long for a burglar to drive by, see an open garage door, run in there, grab something, throw it in the car, and he's gone before you even know it. If you're out in the backyard working on the yard or doing some landscaping, or even like we have peaches now coming out on our tree, so I'm up there working on the peaches, trying to get them out of the tree, and so it's going to be hard for me to jump off the ladder and try to go out and chase this individual if I left my garage doors open. So, they do drive by. They look to see what's available, what's an easy target. Again, in the evening, at night, install some outside lighting for the dark. There's a lot of lightings now that are available that have sensors that turn on when someone walks by, or turns on when there's movement. And those really, really are good systems to put out there for your garage, or just for some temporary areas, like in your backyard. The light will pop on if someone's in your backyard moving around. Some people don't like them because they have a lot of animals that come into the backyard and they'll turn on or turn off. I know my neighbor across the street, unfortunately, his house has been burglarized once, and his tires have been removed twice off of his pickup truck.
That's terrible.
And we walked outside and found it on blocks that they got from the neighbor's house to lift the truck up. So, but he's now installed this lighting that turns on, and whenever there's any movement outside. So, and I noticed that it pops on and off quite a lot, but it still turns on when there is movement in front of the house or in front of his garage. How many times have we, especially Christmas, special events, we've purchased a nice bicycle or a TV, and we just take those boxes and lay them out there on the street. All you're doing is telling the burglar, look what I got for Christmas, or look what I got for my birthday, or look what I have right now in my house. So the best way to take care of that is to take the time to fold them up, cut them, split them, and put them into your trash cans, or put them into these big garbage bags. I mean, they have garbage bags now that are 50-gallon garbage bags, and you can just stuff all kinds of boxes and cardboard and papers in there. And depending on where you live, I know the city garbage pickup has certain limitations on what they will or won't pick up, or they've indicated they're only going to take it if it's in a certain container. So try to do that and put it in those containers if necessary. Fortunately, we're not on the city service, so we can put a lot of items out there that will be taken by the garbage folks. But again, you just still don't want to advertise, because the garbage guys are also, you don't know who they are. So how do you know they're not also scoping out for an easy target? So again, empty boxes, dispose of them properly. That way you're not advertising out there what's going on. what kind of property you've received or new property you've gotten. Facebook, social media. How many times, I don't know about you guys, but I see so many times people saying, God, we're going out of town, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to Europe for 3 weeks, you know, and really and truly, these burglars are also looking for this kind of stuff. You don't know your friends' friends. So if you're advertising to them that, hey, you know, we're getting ready to go out of town for 3 weeks, and all you've done is just, you know, welcome them to the neighborhood, if that's a burglar looking for something to strike. Again, pack your luggage discreetly. Pack your luggage the night before, or pack your luggage in the garage. Don't be out on the driveway with throwing your luggage in there, or throwing your suitcases in the car if somebody is driving by and they can see, oh, they're going somewhere and they're going for a while. So kind of be discreet. You can pack that stuff, most of your stuff you can pack the night before and put it in the car. A lot of items, you know, shoulder bags or small briefcases, you can stick in the car as you're leaving. But again, you don't want to make it too obvious that you're going out of town by having your car parked outside and all the doors open and suitcases just getting stacked up in there, and then you drive off. If you have a neighbor that you know and work with and talk to, and hire one of his kids to come cut your grass. Don't leave the grass growing over an extended period of time, because all that says is that, you know, nobody's here, nobody's taking care of the yard, and I can get in there and see what's going on and maybe be able to burglarize the house. I haven't been too successful with having the mail stopped, so I usually have my neighbors pick it up if we go out of town. It seems like there's a process just trying to get the post office to stop your mail and not deliver it, and
then to get it restarted.
And then to get it restarted. So it's really an issue through the post office to try to get that I've found. So really and truly, if you have a neighbor that can just put the mail into give them your mail key or your mailbox key if you have one, have them put it in his garage, or if you have the slot into the door, you might want to have them check that slot and make sure that there's nothing hanging out of it, because it's getting filled up. Some people have like a crate or a small holder once they drop it in, so it doesn't hit the floor, because then the dog chews it up. So what you want to do is make sure that it's not stuffed so tight now that a burglar can just look at it and go, hey, you know, this. And that's another thing, when we talked about before, remember, burglar can come around, they can take that mail out of the mailbox, and all of a sudden there you are with identity theft. You know, they take those credit card applications and they start filling those out in your name. So that's twofold, especially you know, when you're going on vacation. Timers for inside the light. You don't want to have the timers coming on like at 3 o'clock in the morning. You know, be obvious. You know, you're not up at 3 o'clock in the morning with the TV blaring and all this other stuff going on. So what you want to do is make sure that those timers are set on an appropriate time. The radio's turned on at a certain time if you want. Those timers now have multiple on and off sequences, so you can adjust those times so that it's more in tune as your normal living, day-to-day living operations. Now, if you have a neighbor that can come in, unlock the house, check it for you, I mean, you know, that's totally up to you. But then he may forget to lock the door. So, you know, those are just some of the things that you want to think about. So again, you know, timers are good for TVs, good for lighting. We put a timer on at our house when we go out of town in the bedroom to go on just at dusk and go off later on at night. That way it gives the appearance of us being in the bedroom and then the light going off when we go to sleep. This is some new technology. I want to kind of explain this to you. Now this is, I think, in Mandarin or Chinese or Japanese, but this is some new technology. I saw this on TV the other day, and I wish I could have written down the website, but on that site it was actually of a shadow of an individual that was boxing, and you project the image onto your curtains, and then the curtain projects this person that's in the inside the house. Now this has been done, these are being done now because of girls that live by themselves. They're afraid. There is no man that they can go to. They're in a high, you know, maybe there's a high rate of burglaries that are going on in that area. So it kind of helps them, you know, go through the day, or knowing that there's not going to be anybody, hopefully that there's not going to be anybody in there, that they'll see the shadow. So this is about 2 or 3 minutes, but I wanted to see it. This is really neat how they're doing this stuff now.
That was done in an old Fred Astaire movie.
Yeah?
I can't remember which one.
Any audio or talking, we will be able to hear live in the meeting, but those online will not be able to hear this.
No.
Too bad there's no subtitles.
Yeah, I know. I was looking for subtitles. You'll see this guy coming around. He's looking to burglarize. You'll notice he's getting ready to jump over. This is the inventor of the technology. It's called Man on the Curtain. And what they do, they take all this video of these individuals behind a curtain. And then either with an application that they purchase or they're able to download, then they're able to put it on their phones and project it onto the curtain at their home. And see, she needs a projector. Now you could use this also to show that your husband does do some work around the house. So. But viewed from the outside, it appears as though there's someone in the house. And that's what they're trying to do.
That's a great idea.
Is give the appearance of someone at home for those girls that live by themselves.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting.
So that's what's, coming to try to help these folks that are living alone. Even, I saw where they had a guy with a rock band or playing the guitar or something like that. Now, if you don't have the noise to accompany that, then you're really just kind of barking at the door. But again, that is a technology out there that's coming around. The use of the cell phone, the use of your recorder, your projector, and again, it can be timed to come on, project that image on the curtain so that they think someone's there. Getting back, some of the ways burglars make entry, and as I was talking to you about my neighbor's house, how he got burglarized once, they got in using the doggy door.
Wow, small burglar.
Crawled right through there, went in the house. She had a maid in the house, a dog. She had a large Labrador, and when the Labrador saw the guy, went after the guy, and he managed to open the door and get out. But again, he was able to get in using that doggy door, and that doggy door wasn't,
wasn't very
that big. Put on here using a ladder for the second floor. I don't know how many of us keep a ladder outside or behind our garage, but they can take that if you have a 2-story building and go upstairs and almost always find that window unlocked. Unless you have, a lot of times you'll open those windows upstairs in order to allow the ventilation to come through the house. Well, unless you go back up there and lock the doors, the windows, you don't think about someone climbing up to the second floor and crawling in that window. Unlocked windows, again, second floor, first floor. Unlocked back doors, you will be surprised. Many years ago, I know when my daddy and I used to live out in southeast Houston, we used to have a screen door with a little latch on it.
Yep.
And that was all we had. We'd left the keys in the car. But now, you almost have to have a steel door, and you have to have reinforced on the deadbolts so that someone can't come in. And then removing the air conditioning unit. Did you know that if you have a portable air conditioning unit, they could take that out of the window and crawl in? So, again, if they've got the time and the opportunity, then they're going to get in there and get into the house. So, again, be cognizant of what you're leaving around out there and what's available for a burglar to use to get in the house. A shovel outside, or even a broomstick where they could break the glass. I mean, it's a lot of these things that they can use. So you want to also make sure that your windows, that you have those tempered windows. I just recently got all my windows replaced, but they were the construction grade single pane aluminum windows that let all the rain and the air through, and unless you do something about that, that's really no protection. I mean, they could just get through that real easy. Again, when you secure your home, there's different methods that you can use. You can go on YouTube, and you can see how to reinforce your front door. This has a metal plate that has a deadbolt that also has another lock underneath it, and it's reinforced with metal. They want you to have that deadbolt at least an inch or an inch and a half into your stud in the wall. So if it's not that far, I mean, it's not much of a deterrent for someone to kick it open. A lot of us have, and myself included, have glass doors. And when we talk a little bit about home invasion, you know, when you walk to that door, they see you, you see them, and they can break through that glass real easily. So might want to try to make sure that that door is reinforced somehow with maybe another deadbolt, maybe a throw latch on the top if you can put one on there. So there, before you pop that door open to look. So cameras again, and again, you could put a camera out there that doesn't even work. You know, you can have a camera that works, or you can have a camera that doesn't work. You know, it's just a deterrent. Remember, you're trying to scare that burglar away. There's a dowel that you can place into the sliding door of your patio doors, because all it takes on a patio door is lift it up and out. That's all it's going to take. And
it's easy to do.
It's very easy to do. So, and the same thing with your windows, up and out if you have just the aluminum sliding windows. It's not difficult. They have cramps that you can tighten down on those windows. They have, you could even drill a small screw into it to hold it above that door. But then again, remember, if you do something like that, you have to also think about, how can I escape if I have to escape? And if you have that thing latched down and you can't get out, then you're going to be in a lot of trouble, unless you can just break the whole glass out and try to crawl out that way. But again, you want to think about, what can I use to quickly get to secure that door and to quickly open that door or window to get out if I had to. Again, the dowels, as we spoke, they slide right into the ramp of the sliding door, and it keeps that door from being shimmied or jarred. I just recently got the Ring doorbell, and also I went and purchased the wireless camera system, which is an Arlo system, Arlo Pro. I'm not promoting these products. I don't get paid for promoting these products, but they work real well, because I have a two-story home. So in order for me to hardwire all that, it would take a lot, and it'd be expensive. I know that since you guys are in the computer business, you probably have Wi-Fi, intranet at the house, and all it takes is an intranet connection for that wireless camera to work. And I can actually see that camera on my telephone anywhere, along with, if that doorbell rings, it will ring on my phone, and I can actually talk to that individual on the telephone, through my telephone, at the guy standing at the door. So these products, this technology is just moving so quick and so fast that it's becoming not as expensive to use some of these products. Like the Ring product, I think cost me about $150, and the Arlo was like $400.
Do you know the resolution of the Arlo? Is it 720 or 1080?
Yeah, I think it's 720.
Okay.
So, and you can zoom in and look at your subject matter. And also, you can set ranges so that when a person walks onto the sidewalk, it'll automatically notify you that there's motion at the front door, and until that doorbell's pressed, it'll record that motion coming to you. And it also has night light capabilities, where you can see it at night. So those are some of the products that are out there you might want to explore if you're concerned about having cameras put up at your residence. The ADT sign, again, you can hire an alarm company to do that. You can also just go buy a sign and stick it in the yard. You don't necessarily have to be on ADT or Brinks or anybody else. All it is a deterrent. It's just something telling people, I'm prepared for a burglary, and these are the products, these are the things that I have as a barrier to keep you from coming in. Again, a dog. I have more success with my Yorkie and Chihuahua mix than I do with that pit bull. They rule the house, and they make the most racket when somebody's there. And so, and people don't, and burglars don't want all that racket, because then it'll alert your neighbors that tell you what's going on next door. They're not home. So, you know, I'm not suggesting go buy a dog, but then again, if you have a dog, that's a good deterrent. Yard lighting, there's low voltage lighting that you can put up that for your house, for your landscaping, that's very inexpensive. You can do it yourself. Plug it to an outside outlet and run the wiring to it, and you connect 3 or 4 light features to it. Thorn bushes, you know, you plant those up close to the house, and that's a deterrent. You know, somebody doesn't want to crawl through a bunch of thorn bushes to try to break into your house. So I mean, those are some other deterrents that you can put up if you want to. Again, your valuables. Take photographs of your property. Take pictures of everything. If you have a camera, even on your cell phone, videotape your whole house, your rooms, your closets. Because A, it's good if property is stolen. B, what happens if there's damage done to your house, such as like this hurricane, or even a fire, and that way you can record to the insurance companies exactly what you had, and do that once a year. If you have a safe, keep your valuables in that safe. If you have, like they have these soup cans now that have false bottoms, and you can put valuables in those and keep them in your shelf. And people don't realize that those are some options that you can use. There's a person right there who's got a panel that slides in and out of the wall. Use etching to inscribe onto your property your Texas driver's license number. It should be TDL and then the number behind it. You don't want your Social Security number on it. Your Texas driver's license will get it right back to you if it's ever sent to a pawn shop. So a lot of times these pawn shops do record who they receive it from. There's a process with the Houston Police Department that I know of, that they go out to pawn shops and pull these pawn slips and see if anything's coming back stolen. I know when I was in crime analysis with the police department, we would actually use as a basis for our pawn shop class rings. Class rings has the person's initial inside of it. It has the year that they graduated from college and the college name. So you can always go to that college, get that information and the year, and then you can track that suspect back, or that victim back, because they're the ones that had the property stolen from. The also in inscribing on your personal property, there are some infrared, I mean not infrared, but fluorescence type.
Fluorescent ink?
There you go. I couldn't think of the name at that time. But
been a long day.
Yes, it has. But you can also inscribe that TDL number on the back, and then whenever it goes under a light, fluorescent light, a blue light, it'll show up. So those are some of the ways to keep your valuables safe. But I strictly encourage you to take photographs of the property. You want to take a picture of the overall property, and then take a picture of the Social Security of the not Social Security, but the serial number that's on the back along with the model number. So that way you can always put the serial number and the property in the same photograph and be able to show it to anybody that if your property was stolen or taken from you, along with inscribing your name on it or your driver's license number on it. There's a big every Tuesday we have National Night Out. That is with your local police departments. They encourage you to get together and meet with your neighbors, know who they are, develop a relationship with them so they can help you in case there's some issues that you need. We've been real fortunate in our neighborhood in that every so often we'll get together and watch the Super Bowl in the cul-de-sac. We live in a cul-de-sac, so we're able to kind of block the street off. But we watch the Super Bowl. We have little get-togethers. We watch the World Series. We'll probably get together and watch the Rockets play one night. But again, it's just get together, put some sandwiches together, hot dogs or whatever, and just enjoy each other's company.
So it's you and the neighbors and the mosquitoes.
Well, there you go. There's a lot of commissioners now running for their wanting to be elected into service. So they're out spraying the neighborhood quite a bit with mosquito spray. So hopefully
it's helping.
It's going to help out. But again, you need to get out there and you need to visit with your neighbors. I know the first time, the day I moved into my house, we got hit with a real heavy rain and a hailstorm, which busted out half the windows in the house.
Wow! And
flooded the downstairs of my. I mean, the day I walked in, they gave me the keys. We did the closing, walked in, and that night I was underwater.
That's terrible.
So, and that's how I met my neighbor. And he came over and helped me with a wet vac, and we lived upstairs for about 3 weeks until we can get the downstairs done. But now we help each other as much as we can. We do everything we can to help each other. We've become very close friends. We're very close neighbors. We know each other, and we work in order to keep all of ourselves safe. So take advantage of that. Get to visit with you folks. This is a short interview with a burglar, basically telling what he's looking for when he does a burglary. And I thought it kind of interesting, so I went ahead and attached it for you. He's looking for cover.
Easier said than done. Another reason to keep your bushes trimmed around the house.
All to fit in. Yes, you always know everybody. I don't just, I mean, me, I can look at a house and tell if somebody's home or not, but I'm still gonna knock on the door and make sure you're not home. Cause I have been in houses with people in their sleep. And when I go in the house and people in their sleep, they never wake up. I turn around and I leave, I walk back out, and I don't take them. I'm not gonna go to avoid any confrontations. If I go in your house, I don't want you to be home. I think I've broken maybe 2 or 3 houses in the night. I never go in the house at night because of the fact people come home in the daytime and you break in the house at 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 o'clock in the morning, you know, people's at work. And I never break into a house close around lunchtime because people come home from work sometimes. And usually when you tell people to come to work, I don't break in the house, but anywhere from 8 on up to 11 o'clock, that's the time.
So you hear what he's saying? He's not going to show up during lunchtime because he knows a lot of people are coming home to have the lunch. So he can't take that chance. He said the best time is after 8 o'clock in the morning till about 11 o'clock in the morning. And then after that, about probably from 2 to 5 or 2 to 4 is a good time for burglars to hit. So another point that I thought was pretty interesting is that if he sees toys or playground equipment out the back, that he knows there's a woman there. And he's a jewelry thief, so he knows that's what he's looking for, jewelry. Jewelry because it's easy to stick it in your pockets. They're not going to come and steal your refrigerator unless there's a vehicle involved. That's usually done by when they're doing these residential homes, these new construction, they end up finding refrigerators and stoves that are taken because they come up in a large truck, they just load them up and they leave.
It was a problem in the model home parks back in the 80s too.
Mm-hmm.
It got bad.
Yeah, it was real hard. But again, a lot of these, and when we were doing our research in crime analysis, when I was with the police department, we would kind of find out what kind of property was taken. So it would give us an idea that this individual is either walking or driving. If he was in a car, it was because he was taking large TVs, he was taking, recording equipment, he was taking photograph cameras, stuff like that, because they're not going to walk around the neighborhood with this stuff strapped on their back. So a lot of times there's a vehicle involved where they are parked around a corner because they've got a partner, and that partner will come in, back the car up, throw its stuff, and then they're gone. So
and some of these burglars, have y'all ever noticed, have gone after the guys that are doing landscaping.
mm-hmm.
I know my yard guy has had some of his stuff stolen. I told him, I said, Harold, if you ever see me sitting in the back of your truck, it's because I'm watching something nefarious going on and I'm trying to prevent it. He looked at me and grinned. He said, thank you, I appreciate it. Because that just pains me to no end. And last year we heard stories about some guys mowing yards and they were accosted by someone trying to take either the mower, the weed whacker, or they take off with a trailer from behind the truck.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just recently we had a robbery of an individual. A guy walked up to him and asked him for $5 and he ended up trying to rob him, So, I mean, that was just in Houston here about 2 weeks ago.
Wow.
So, these guys are getting brazen. They're getting, they're getting desperate for property. They're desperate for money. And I can't say it's because of drugs. Could be. But a lot of times, it's just that they just don't want to work. They need money, and they want to buy the cigarettes or whatever they need to get. Washington, D.C., December 25th, 2017. As you can read on this, it stated that that violent crime has risen since 2015 by 4.1%. So it said the estimated number of violent crimes in the nation increased for the second straight year, rising 4.1% in 2016 when comparing with 2015 data, according to FBI figures released today, which was on September 25th, 2017. Property crimes have dropped 1.3%, making it the 14th consecutive year that estimates for these events decline. So, again, property is dropping, but violent crime is rising. I want to touch a little bit about home invasions. We're getting older. The baby boomers, you know, you have the baby boomers and you have the millennium. And the millennium is one of the largest growing groups that we have out there, along with baby boomers. So, and as we're getting older, there's a lot of things that we are sending out, hiring people to do for us, because we can't climb up on a roof anymore and fix that gutter. We can't do the brickwork that we used to do. We can't get under the car and do the mechanics work that we used to do. Besides, cars now are all computerized, and if you disconnected something, you don't know what you did. So, so now we're becoming more and more vulnerable. In the United States Department of Justice reported 38% of assaults and 6% of rapes occurred during home invasions. What you want to do is make sure that you're not becoming a target. That whenever you go to that door because someone's knocking, that you know who's on the other side of that door. You don't have to open the door and look. You can ask them through the door, you know, who is it, what do you want? Be sure to do that so that you won't open the door to subjects that want to come in and rob the house, tie you up. You can also might want to have an exit plan. You know, if for instance you're inside the house, someone's kicking the door, you may want to try to have a plan on how you can get out of that house, even if it's opening the window and crawling out if you had to, locking your door or wherever you're at. Again, these things are starting to increase. We're having more and more people that are being robbed as they leave the bank and get to the house. A lot of people are being attacked when they drive into their driveways because someone followed them. You just want to be real careful and real cognizant of what's going on around you. Some of the safety tips that you ought to be following is always lock your doors, always lock your windows and your garages. Make sure home entrances are well lighted, that you have minimum bushes where intruders can hide before they're ambushed. Use peepholes before opening the door to anyone. You know, the chain latch to open the door part way, that's nothing. A chain latch you could push that open. So, you know, you don't want to have the chain latch and look out. That's not going to work. Don't open the door to solicitors or strangers. You want to install a solid core door. You don't want to use a hollow core door. Many years ago, they were installing these hollow core doors. All they had was framing around the outside. The centers were nothing. They were just two pieces of plywood with foam insulation.
Cheap.
So if you have that kind of door, change it. Go get a solid core door. They have those now that are metal.
Or even fiberglass.
There's fiberglass ones. True story. When I was in the narcotics division, we actually went to an apartment the guy had the solid core door. We were serving a search warrant. And he actually had not deadbolts, but latch bolts in the top in the top left, middle, bottom left, and on the bottom.
Wow.
And it took us forever to break that door down, because ordinarily you would hit it where the lock mechanism is, but once you hit it there, these other locks were holding it, and once you hit it there, these other locks down here were holding it. We almost tore the whole door apart before we could even get in. So there are ways to make those doors real secure. You just have to be inventive, and you know that there's points that you can secure that people can't. It's hard to get through. Windows. I know that I'm not sure. Just recently, I say recently, about 3 years ago, we had brand new windows installed throughout the whole house. Now, it was expensive. It wasn't cheap. But these windows have where we could raise it a little bit, but it had a little diamond latch that came out and kept it from going up any further. So you could raise it all the way if you wanted to, but you also can snap these little pieces out and it would just hold it maybe that high. So it allowed the ventilation, but it kept somebody from getting in. It also allowed us to be able to open the window to a certain point, hit buttons on top, and slide it totally out, so we could remove the whole window and get out if we had to. So there's different ways of securing your house. If you want to put something, just work slowly by putting some in the bedroom, some in the living room, 1 or 2 windows that you can handle, then I would suggest doing that. But again, you're working for your safety, you're working to make sure that you can get out if you had to, and making sure that nobody crawls to get through those windows. And then again, be aware of your surroundings all the time. I mean, when you're driving around, even when say you're leaving the grocery store, don't walk around with your purse on your shoulder. Don't walk around with, your keys in your hand. If you're going to your car, be prepared to unlock it, get your stuff in there, especially your purse. You can put it in the door and lock it, and then open the back up and put your groceries in. My wife would always, when she did her groceries, she always would do her groceries sideways, so she could see what's behind her and she could see where she's putting in the car. So she would never turn her back, because we have a hatchback, so she would never turn her back. She'd always put the cart there and push it over to her left. So that way, and she always would take her purse, put it inside the car, and lock that car up. And then she'd take the hatchback and open it up. Even at service stations.
Especially.
You're at a gas station, and your purse is sitting on the
passenger
front
side?
seat, passenger side, and your door's unlocked. They'll slide in, take that purse, and they're gone. And it's happening more and more and more. So again, be very, very careful. I added something here on crime reports. I don't know if you're familiar with crime reports. Crime reports is available online. It will tell you what crime is occurring within 24 hours. It updates it every day. What's happening in your neighborhood. You can dial it down to whatever kind of crime you're looking for, whatever time of day, whatever day of week. So a real short video, kind of give an explanation of what it does.
The data on crime reports comes from a coalition of more than 1,000 law enforcement agencies across the United States and Canada, dedicated to making their information more accessible and available to the public. Let's get started by typing a location. Navigate the map by zooming in or out. In the upper left corner, you can type to search a specific address, like your business or home. On the right sidebar, you can view all nearby agencies supplying data Expand and click the box to view. Find more specific trend information in this module as well. For example, if you want to look at trends around robberies on weekends, you can go ahead and select the days of the week, Saturday and Sunday. Then go to incident type, deselect all, and select robberies. You can then filter by times of the day and see how many robberies happen in the morning, midday, late afternoon, or evening. Reset the filters to begin a new search. Citizens can also use crime reports to engage with the agency. To receive customized alerts, set the map view for the area in which you want the alert. Go to Creating Alert, type a name for the alert and frequency. You can sign in with an existing Google, Facebook, or Twitter account, in addition to creating a new login. By clicking Submit a Tip, at any time, citizens can provide tips to any crime reports agency through the partner app TipSoft. Users can also easily register home or business security cameras so that law enforcement can more quickly and efficiently access relevant footage in the event of a crime in the area. Many agencies have chosen to provide more information and capabilities to citizens by signing up for Crime Reports Plus. In this example, you can see Harris County is listed as a featured agency. This means they have Crime Reports Plus. You can click on Explore the Agency to view the customized citizen-facing page created for residents. Harris County has taken the opportunity to link to social media and a stream of local tweets, as well as display a message along with a video from the sheriff. Plus, agencies can also show up to 24 months of data as opposed to just 6 months in the standard version, allowing for better historical context and analysis. These customized agency pages also include more comprehensive data analytics, including the time of day incidents are happening, the most common incidents, and data specific to a certain neighborhood. Plus, agencies also have map regions you can click to view, as well as filter crime information for that specific region. For more information, please visit our FAQ section on the website.
So that's basically a real short preview to the crimereports.com. It's really got a lot of information on it. It will, again, identify who your registered sex offenders are in your area. It'll identify what burglaries that have occurred, property crimes, auto thefts, and burglary of motor vehicles. So if you're having a number of cars being broken into, you can go on there and you can see, okay, what time of day or night is this happening? What day of the week is this occurring? Because that's what we would do in crime analysis. We kind of find a pattern, and once we found a pattern, then we could assign officers to be there at that particular time frame so that they could hopefully catch a suspect that was committing the crime. So again, you can do this all day long and go over what you need in order to identify what's going on in your neighborhood. And again, if you're say like you're moving to Arizona, or you're moving to Colorado, or you're moving to another state, all the majority of states are on this crime report. So you can find, you could type in the address if you're looking to buy a home in that area and see, well, what's the crime rate in that area? What's been going on? So that'll give you some ideas also as to if you're wanting to use that as an avenue to identify the crime trends in those areas. Kind of finishing up, I wanted to touch base with you about hurricane season. You know, it's here. I know that these things come in, gives us a little time to prepare because they're out in the Gulf, but again, when they do hit, you just really don't know what's going to happen. Unfortunately, the media has a real bad habit of hyping any kind of rainstorm we have out there, that, it's going to be puddling in the street, or it's going to be, flooding in the street. We really don't know what it is anymore because there's so much hype on any kind of event that occurs out there. But it's good for you to put together some kind of a go bag. And I talked to you before about this. You need to have a go bag put together all the time, even in a fire, that would have important papers that you would have, like your insurance papers, your photos of your belonging, or a thumb drive with all the photos and the property that you've got in that you could throw into a plastic baggie, some extra clothes, money, medication for you that you must take on a regular basis, your birth certificate, passport, because those are forms of identification. Even if you lost your driver's license, you still have that passport that has your photo. It's a government provided identification. Portable radio if you can. There's some portable radios out there you can wind up and listen to, and a cell phone charger if there's any way that you can have one available to you that you can keep charged up. I know during Hurricane Harvey, I put a bag together, and I also have another in my closet. I actually have a large plastic bin that has water, some food supplies, that has a portable stove, small stove. It has, and you use those bottled gas, propane gas, to run that stove, and you can buy 6 or 8 containers of it at the hardware store. And in a plastic baggie, we had our passports, birth certificate, insurance information, medication. There's even I think even during Harvey, people were ran out of medication, and they were able to go to a drugstore and get it refilled, only because they had that information available for themselves. You can put it in a backpack. You can have that in a backpack. I put mine in a red bag, so I knew that was the red bag. I threw it on. When we were I was watching TV. My wife was at the hospital because my mother-in-law fell down and broke her hip the day of the hurricane.
How's she doing?
She's fine. She's fine now.
Mm.
But so she was in the hospital, and my wife was at the hospital with her trying to schedule the surgery. And all of a sudden, they were because I live close to Addicks Reservoir. So I mean, I'm right next to it. So they were out there evacuating people, and all of a sudden, the TV was on. I was watching TV, and the guy came on and said, "The dam broke. The water's coming in now." And
you said,
I went, "Oh my
yeah.
God." I said more than that.
Yeah.
But I have 3 dogs also.
Oh gosh.
So here's the dogs. Here's the red bag. I'm running down the stairs because we were having to live upstairs because we had, downstairs everything was lifted up, for fear of the water coming in. And and I was paging my wife saying the dam broke, we're getting out, we're evacuating. And my plan was to go onto that overpass that
got closed.
Beltway 8 overpass. No, I could get on it. I could get to it. So my plan was to get on that Beltway 8. I knew my wife was going to be okay because she was on the 17th floor of the hospital.
They were good.
So, and I had the food, had everything ready. But then it came back and said, no, the dam did not break. Everything, there was a false report. So,
wow.
My anxiety level hit sky high. So, again.
The adrenaline was pumping.
It was pumping. So, again, be prepared. Even if you had a fire in the house, you've got a bag designated to have that's got your important items in it, grab it and run. Which comes back to your dogs, your pets, What have you got planned for them? You know, many of us have small dogs, big dogs. Where are we going to put them if something like that happens? 99% of the time they're going with us wherever we go. So you want to make sure that if you're going to place them with friends or relatives during the major storms, make sure that they have the information that they're going to need, which is, and if you take your pet, this is what you're going to need. You're going to need proof of your vaccines, you know, the tags, leashes, collars, and muzzles. If you have a dog that has a tendency to bite, you want to have a muzzle for that dog. Food and water, and they have collapsible bowls now that you can use and stick them in a backpack. So you don't have to have big tin bowls. Just get the collapsible ones. They're rubber, and they're easy to maintain and take care of.
And they will sense your anxiety too.
Yeah, and food and water, and containers to pack the food in, Ziploc bag, and medication if you have medication for your pets. So, you know, those are some of the things you want to keep on top of and make sure that that you are preparing not only for yourselves, but you're preparing for your pets. I hope this information was helpful. I hope
yes.
that, you know, if there's anything you need, if anything I can help you with, please do not hesitate to ask. If there's any questions, I'll be more than happy to answer them now.
Anybody got any questions?
A lot of information, huh? Well, I got the PowerPoint sent to Lou, and she'll get it out to all of you if you haven't received it yet.
If anybody like a copy of it. Got a mic over there? Can you?
Where?
I've got one question.
Yes, sir.
What do you have on your house to protect yourself from problems?
From what, sir?
Any kind of problem that you might incur. What do you have? How you have your house equipped?
Your burglar proofing.
Besides my gun.
Now that you ask.
I'm a retired police officer, so I mean.
He's ready for bear.
I thought about that when you said beating on the door. I thought bullets would be going through it, you know.
There you go, 12 gauge. I think the best weapon, sincerely, is a 12 gauge or 20 gauge shotgun, because even with bird shot in it, number 4 buck, or I've used number 6. But again, all you're trying to do is you don't want to go through numerous walls either.
Nope.
When you're firing your weapon, you know, some people use an AR-15, and that's going to go quite a ways. But
sometimes just mere cycling of a round is
right.
an excellent deterrent.
You know, a pump shotgun, making that rattle.
Yep.
When I used to go to beer joints where there was riots going on, and I'd rack around in that 12 gauge, they would back off and they'd kind of settle down, and they would understand that the police were there and we're going to take care of this situation. But yeah, I've gotten windows, replaced all my windows to the
Do you have vinyl windows?
Vinyl windows. The door I'm still looking at. I've installed cameras, the wireless cameras, and the Ring system. I have 3 dogs that make a lot of racket. I have lighting that comes on with the motion. I don't have shrubbery in the front of my house. They're real low if I do. I have mainly just flower beds in front. I have lighting that is really transmit onto the 2 pine tree and oak tree that I have in my front yard, but it's also to light up the flags that I have, the American flag and the Texas flag.
You got a flagpole out front?
No,
Just
it's
hanging
on the
off
trees.
Oh,
on
nice.
the tree.
Nice.
The backyard, I put a throw bolt latch through it, and another latch, so they can't get through the fence. I mean, the the fencing is facing the outside, so there's no 2x4s they can jump on to climb over the fence. Behind me, I have a lot of townhomes. The people could jump over the fence, but again, since I have the lighting that comes on at night, thank God so far I haven't had any issues.
Good.
My neighbors have. My neighbor next door to me, actually, a guy drove up into my driveway, went into his garage. The guy was high on drugs and crawled up into his attic in his garage. I mean, he was stoned out of his mind. They managed to get it. My neighbor, he came down and confronted my neighbor. My neighbor ran in the house, grabbed his .40 caliber and made him get on his hands and knees and crawl out to the street until the police could get there. I went home.
You missed all the excitement.
But again,
crazy things happen.
There are a lot of things that happen fast, so you need to be prepared. Always look around. Always really just see what's around you. See what's following you. See what's walking with you.
And watch out for your neighbors too.
Yeah. Any other questions? Well, again, thank you so very much. I really appreciate y'all inviting me.
Thanks for coming and being with us today. We really appreciate this presentation.
I got a question. Wait.
Yes,
How many people here have made an inventory of their property? If not for this, for hurricanes? 2 people. 3. Yeah. It's with hurricane season coming, it's something you really should do.
Yes.
Because you're more likely to suffer from the water than the burglar.
That's true. That's true. And, you know, you could prepare and you could be sitting at the house and everything else, but then all of a sudden, you know, they decide
It's the Addicts Reservoir.
They decide to open the dam, and you've got 4 feet of water now rushing to you. So it's hard.
I live in downtown Houston, and during Allison, I live in a townhome, row house, and during Allison, I had water within 1 centimeter of coming in my house.
Yeah.
I was lucky.
Well, we were very fortunate also because we had the water all the way up to the door. And I figured, well, it's going to come in. That was the first night. And thank God, it never did. It never did. So I was expecting to walk down onto 3 inches of water downstairs.
Got everything?
Yes, sir.
You're good?
Yes, sir.
I hope you'll come and do this again sometime.
Sure, we'll see what else is going on.
Well, I hope this is very timely now with what's going on, and you know, the schools are getting ready to let out, and we need to be thinking about this time of year because the hurricane season coming on after what we went through, what we had last year. So I thought this was very timely to come and share this. How many of y'all have access to that neighborhood thing called nextdoor.com? Does anybody? Well, when I first got into that, I told you guys about it, and I thought, boy, this is just a bunch of but anyway, I've since come to respect it, and I can have a better understanding of some of the people, and you get a pulse on the neighborhood. I've met some wonderful neighbors that are really concerned about issues like the neighborhood, like about the school district. So this little video that we've had today, I'm going to share on Nextdoor because I think it's very timely, and I think it's important we do stuff like this. We'll do something like this again, hopefully.
You know, on that ring.com, that ring doorbell, actually also includes you into a neighborhood watch program, so that if something suspicious occurred, say a suspicious person came to your door and then left or shook the door or something like that, you could actually put that on the neighborhood northwest. We're on the northwest quadrant, and it'll put it on that northwest quadrant and shoot it out to everybody who has a ring program on it.
That's interesting. That works off the smartphone, or it'll work off their browser?
It's off the smartphone, everything.
Nice. That's good to know. So what I'm going to do is, with this particular episode of what we've done right now, I'm going to stop that stream. The rest of the stuff, what we're going to do, we'll do, and then we can evaluate whatever else we've done for the day if we're going to put it up live. So those of you that are online, I want to thank you for watching, and we're going to stop the stream right now. And we'll do another part. We'll tell you about it later. Hopefully we'll see you next week. We got 2 more weeks this month. See you next week.